Hey everyone, my name is Peyton, and in this video I want to basically take my existing haunted house environment that I've made over the past year and make it a little bit more spooky. So of course it's already sort of a haunted house, but I think really accentuating a lot of those vibes and everything, and kind of do a sort of a relight as well as adding to it, especially for the current season that it is and all. And so just wanted to kind of add quite a bit of stuff to it and see where we can take it. This one is a little bit more of a fun, I guess, project or video, not necessarily going over anything specific, but I will touch on a couple of topics as I just add things to it and everything. And yeah, as you see here with our current environment, we have something that feels a little bit just like spooky in general. Of course, we have the pumpkins, we have the lighting and all, and I think like that works, but we could definitely bump it up a notch and also bring in some of that like kind of fantasy-esque feeling to it as well. This feels pretty grounded, I would say, overall. And yeah, I think there's a couple of very simple things that we could start with. So one thing that I'm going to go ahead and do is I went and found a very simple just moon picture, as you can see here off of Google, and just brought that in and basically set it up with a actual like material here. So you can see my material set to translucent, and I'm basically using this moon texture to go into the opacity. Then I'm also multiplying it by a value, that way I can do it, control the emissiveness of it, and then our base color here, which yeah, I could sort of I guess add some more details and everything to this as well to make it even more interesting. So let's say we have our emissive strength, and this way if I want to control it as we go along, that could work nicely. And then up here I'm going to multiply our base color just by a random color here. So if you're curious how I created these, I pressed 3 for the 3 constant, and then pressed 1 for this one here. And yeah, just going to convert it to parameter, that way it's exposed and it's like live updating as I can control it and all, and we can see it instantly. And I'm gonna set this one to be color tint, save that, and hit apply. So right now it's nothing, but yeah, if I wanted it to be a bit more on see, oh, I might have to, that's why. Yeah, might also have to actually do it to the emissive as well. Otherwise probably not going to get, just because of how strong we are hitting this with, probably not going to get much out of it. So I think yeah, this, and sorry, plug that in there and then that in here, and yeah. So now we can kind of control the color overall if we want to adjust any of those sort of values. So there we go. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab a plane out of here, bring that in, and yeah, I'm literally just going to apply that material to it, and we sort of have a fake moon. So I'm going to use this for just the look of the moon, really. You know, we already have like a lot of the lighting and stuff working for us there, and so really just want to use this as more of a visual, I would say. It's not going to do much else. And we really can control the rest of it with our our actual directional light and all. So I'm gonna just put this back here, and the reason why I'm not using it set up in a different way is because I do like how I can play around with some of the texture and everything, and yeah, get some cool effects with it. So that's not too bad. But of course, now we're gonna actually have to adjust some of our lighting to work a bit better with this moon. But I think it's kind of fun having it back there. It might be parallaxing a little bit too much with the structure, so I'll probably need to drop it back a bit more and just increase the size. That way, like, because you don't want the location of the moon to change too much, so that's why I'm just really needing to get it far away from the viewer, so it doesn't feel as dramatic when you're kind of moving around. So there we go. It's kind of fun, and technically I could take it all the way back here and actually set it up to be much closer to the clouds and all. Let's see, 1,000, 1,000, 1,000. So now we have a very big moon, and yeah, something simple like that. And we'll continue to kind of work on this as time goes on, but I think that works for now. So now let's play around with the directional light. Start to get something that looks a bit more interesting. So I think one thing right now is that it feels very like gray and kind of washed out. I think it would be cool to go a bit more oops. There we go, and I believe I'm gonna go more of a blue and really kind of push that spooky sort of, it's like that bluish purple that you kind of see that's like overly dramatic in a lot of stuff. I think before, it was pretty desaturated, so going this route could be pretty nice with just really bumping up some of our saturation and getting those brighter colors overall. So might have to adjust this a little bit. So there we go. And then might have to brighten it up. As I go to a darker color, I have to brighten up the actual intensity a little bit. So kind of balances out overall. Maybe it's slightly too saturated. Just kind of bumping this in again, and so all right, I'll probably play around with that a bit more. I like that. I think some more, but it's a good start to sort of play with. And then we'll probably get our orange tones here as well. And also I wanted to mention too, like while we are talking about just overall like spooky elements and getting that in, a lot of times during the season it's like really awesome to get into that spooky vibe, but also at the same time there's some things that are spooky that you really don't want to kind of dabble with, and I think one of those is certainly like identity theft. And while we're on that topic, I did want to mention how important it is to keep safe and up to date with online risks and your personal security. For me, I honestly feel like every single week I hear from a friend or relative where they've been impacted by their personal information being stolen, and data brokers sell that information to scammers, spammers, and honestly anyone else who really wants to target you. Your full name, email, home address, health records, relatives, it's all out there on the internet. And that's why I've been using Aura, the sponsor of today's video. Aura shows me which data brokers are selling my information and automatically submits opt-out requests for me. Cleaning up my information not only helps reduce the amount of spam I get, but it also protects me from hackers who could use this information to help them access my social media accounts, bank accounts, or other sensitive information. Don't know if you saw this, but AT&T actually recently revealed that over 73 million customer records, both existing and former customers, were released on the dark web. And they recommend those affected use strong passwords, monitor account activity, and consider credit freezes or fraud alerts from credit bureaus. And well, thankfully, Aura does all of this for me. And best of all, I don't have to download several different apps just because the company couldn't keep my data secure. If my info was compromised in the AT&T data breach, I wouldn't worry because Aura is always on, always doing the hard work of keeping me safe. I value my privacy and also value yours. You can go to aura.com/Peyton Barnett, which is also linked below in the description, to start your 2-week free trial and see how Aura could start saving you today. And now back to the more positive spooky stuff that we're kind of doing with this environment. I did want to now, like I said, go back over to our lighting. So these I already had set up as a blueprint. And I think I can honestly just go in to those files. So I'm gonna go find the blueprint here for the lantern. So there we go. And yeah, just play around with the saturation, see something. I'm not gonna change it too much, but I'm using the temperature. So this is using Kelvin, and I'll probably just bump it enough to where it really feels overly like warm. So that's kind of working pretty well. And that's going to be like a 2200, which is pretty close to like candlelight. I guess since my intensity overall is pretty strong, it might get blown out slightly. So I could go even warmer than that, like a 2000, but I think I like the 2200. So let's try that. Hit compile, and then gonna go over to my other one as well, and switch that over to a 2200. Cool. So starting to get in a, and this will be one of those things where, yeah, of course, as I'm working, I'm gonna go back and forth, you know, playing around with different colors and tones and seeing what I like and don't like. So I think now I needed to come back and play around with some of the blue a bit more. So like that's way too blue, but I think if we got down here, that could be kind of fun. Don't want to lose too much of the brightness as well. So yeah, and then could even play around with the overall like lighting direction if I wanted to. Maybe if we try out something out here, but I guess, yeah, I do like that moon back there in the background, so it probably does make sense that we kind of go this route still. And so now what I want to do is our exponential height fog. We were already kind of playing around with some of the colors, but I do also want to try out, you know, what if we make it even denser, the fog itself, so it just feels like very dense and kind of eerie in here. I think it's pretty cool, and yeah, I think that's not half bad. So all right, so we have a moon. We've added some stronger saturation to some of the overall like colors that we have in our space. I'm trying to think, let's maybe play around with some of these pumpkins as well. We could increase some of their sizes. Let's see, still want to, you know, consider keeping some smaller ones, but maybe it'd be nice to, yeah, play around with those. I don't want to really do the jack-o'-lantern look with like a cutout one. Could like take one of these into ZBrush and all, but I don't think like that is necessarily like the vibe that I'm wanting to go for with this one. So still has, I guess, a similar tone, but just not as on the nose, I guess. Gonna rotate this one a little bit. And then this might be one of those things where I have to eventually put like a candle or something down there to light that up. But if I were to play around in this area, it's kind of nice. Yeah, lighting's feeling all right. Let's also get in just a really cool, like simple particle real quick. So what I'm gonna do is set up a Niagara system. So made a video on this before, not specifically what I'm gonna be making here, but if you want to, yeah, check that out, feel free to hit the link in the description as well. I'll just drop the actual tutorial, just going over some very basic Niagara stuff. But going to start with a, go down to effects, And I'm going to start with an emitter, and I'm probably going to do a new one. And they have a blowing particles actual template, so this one here. So I'm going to hit finish, and yeah, exactly how it sounds. It's basically just a very simple sort of like blowing emitter. So think of like leaves for sure, I would say. It very much looks like. And I'm gonna close that, and then I'm gonna right click and actually create a system out of this. So now we have our actual Niagara emitter system. So I'm going to click into this, and yeah, this is the one that we'll be able to place out into the scene. So there we go. And it has a directionality to it, so I need to, yeah. Might have to change the rotation of it, but I like the look overall, so definitely need to change the color because the color doesn't really work, and it might be a little bit too, I guess, yeah, constant, like there's a ton of them happening, so I might also adjust that a bit, but I think it could be a nice effect. So not too bad. Might also turn them down as well. So I'm gonna go in here real quick, and yeah, let me just find the emitter, and I'm gonna go and let me see if I have my sprite. It does have a particle color, so I should be able to go down here under the particle update. If there's not already a color added, then I can just type in color and boom, and then just, yeah, maybe select something that's a little bit on the warmer tone. It's not too bad. Cool. And then, so yeah, there's a wind force, particle state, spawn rate as well. Maybe I'll drop that down a little bit. I think we had way too many kind of happening, so maybe this makes a bit more sense. Just a couple of them kind of coming through. I'm just gonna place those sort of around the focal point here. Increase this. Where's my, cool, might do it by, okay, 5,000 is too much. That's kind of working. So now we have that there. I think I might need to go back to our exponential height fog, and overall maybe just like drop it down a little bit. It seems like, oh wait, that's the fall off. Fall off could be maybe, yeah, pushed where we get more of the clouds showing through or so. Then the fog density, let's try like a 0.7. And then for what I'm like going for, especially with the, I know we have like that moon up there, but we won't really see that one. So that's why I'm sort of, yeah, going this route instead. It'll be more so down here, and yeah, just faking the idea that it's coming from where this moon is. Might have to, let's see. Copy paste that across. Now we're up to, yeah, 10,000 in scale. If I wanted to, I believe if I brought the volumetric clouds down, they would potentially actually, yeah, mess with the moon if I could get it. Maybe it's the opacity that's, oh, and I guess the translucency too. So if I switch that off, believe it probably would, yeah. So it's the one thing with, or not the, I guess it's partially the opacity, but also the emissive. The emissive's kind of blowing through everything else. So, honestly, might even turn it down just a little bit. And a lot of this is, yeah, just back and forth, figuring out what's working, what's not working. That's one of the nice things about how we kind of set this up. So I can, you know, tone it down live. And if I wanted a different color, probably, I guess we could try like a bluish tone. It's not too bad. And then directional light again. Yeah, I don't think I want to go as go a little bit darker maybe. So like the direction of the moon, of course, is like here. So it's like very angled, kind of low at the moment. It's either just risen or kind of going down, but let's see, turn that off. But yeah, I guess the problem with that is that if I were to actually go from the angle that it's at, it would potentially be somewhere here or so. And nothing wrong with that, but yeah, we're gonna start competing with a lot of these like trees and everything, creating shadows. And also, is the moon creating a shadow? No. I don't know. Sort of like it how it is a little bit higher up. So yeah, and then let's see. Now what I want to do is go to some of my just, yeah, simple branches and everything, and get some just very basic movement into those. What I'll probably do for the grass, of course, is just use something like the simple grass wind, instead of actually having it like set up with anything else at the moment. Let's see. Plug that into world position offset, and then it just needs quite a few values. So if I need an additional world position offset, wind intensity, wind speed. So this is going to be set to 0.2, just starting off with something basic. Weight, and then wind intensity, let's do 0.2. So this is probably going to break it. Yeah, don't want anything near that much. So I'm going to bring this down to a 0.1, and then wind speed as well. It's going to be 0.05, I think. Might have to be 0.5. if you've ever used the problem, of course, with simple grass wind is that it's just very much like it's a very basic kind of offset happening at a world aligned basically, and yeah, it can have its problems and everything, of course, and it's not going to look the best compared to some of the other techniques, but it can get us something at least that works. Probably 0.2. Yeah, like I said, this is just a phase where I'm kind of going back and forth, trying out different things, seeing what works and what doesn't. For like a simple wind or so. Not the biggest fan of it, but let's see. And I can do the same thing here. I already had it, so just bring that over, and then I'm gonna plug it in. Let me grab that as well, because I believe no, I have it in the trees, I think, right? Yeah, I believe they're moving. Grass is definitely moving a little bit too much, but yeah, at least we've got something going. 0.1. All right. I think we might call it there in regards to the wind, at least, just for now. Later on might try out some other stuff, but one other thing that I did want to bring in real quick is just made a very simple inside of speed tree, a sort of like kind of hanging sort of branch or so. Feels very dead like, and just brought it in, named it Spanish moss. Kind of has the same sort of like vibe with the shapes and everything. And with how I set it up in SpeedTree as well, it just used the same actual like branch cards as the tree to save some time. And yeah, decent little look there. Can throw on a tree bark for everything else. And then this could be useful for actually placing around like some Spanish moss or so on some parts of the building and structure and everything, just to get some additional reeds of like overgrowth and kind of abandoned feeling. Don't want to like make it too random, so I'll probably try to group it up in areas, make a bit more sense. Like over here, maybe it came off the tree or so. You still do want to think about like where it's coming from and everything like that as a like plant or vegetation, and not just like have it sporadically sort of everywhere. But I could also use this to, since we're kind of looking at it from a distance or so, it could cover like poles and everything here, and give some like some cool simple shapes. Let's see. Just throw this out. Then I'm gonna put some up on the actual roof. I think that'd be nice up here. So since you don't really go inside the house either, I can enlarge it as well. But you can see like some of that nice breakup on the windows and stuff could be cool for just like, yeah, overall variation and everything. Might need to adjust the color a bit. Feels a little bit dark on there, but I mean, also our lighting and everything's not contributing to that, but yeah. Most of the time you want to make things feel realistic to like how they would be in the real world when it comes to like color and all. Trying to keep your values correct, but you know, if you're making something a bit darker like this, definitely an opportunity where you would potentially need to exaggerate or like bump up some of the colors to aid you and that sort of thing. But yeah, I think throw down a couple more of these just in the distance. Then can even try one or two a little bit more up close. Maybe put some in this branch or this tree right here. And I could probably make more of these prototypes, you know, with some variation. This is just one, but you can see that like even with one, you can get some like cool results out of it. And I can stretch this one and give some variation and everything. And it, yeah, will work pretty easily. Just throwing this kind of all over the place with the trees. Might need to rotate one or two of these here. Squish it a little bit. And alright, not too bad. I could sit here for a while, like actually tweaking these sort of things, you know, adding them to the different trees and everything, like I said. But yeah, for the sake of the video, I'll kind of call it there with these. And boom. So yeah, we're starting to get a little bit more of like a Spanish moss feeling with some of these cards coming in. We have the moon lighting up in an interesting way. Might have lost a little bit too much light in here, so might need to bring some back or so. But overall, you know, we're kind of pushing it a little bit more into some of those sort of, I guess, fantasy elements with just a higher saturation, adding some different like sort of like elements, you know, additional props and everything can be huge with that. Could, like I said, I think one more thing that I might throw in is like a candle or two. Might just use a sphere as a like reed or so for it. So then I can come back later and actually sort of get the proper effect on it. So gonna bring this down, and then I already have that emissive, so I might just use a emissive for now as my kind of reference of how it might be and what it could do. And then also could throw in a simple point light to aid it as well. So something right here. And then I'm gonna tone down that, of course, bring back the attenuation radius so it's not affecting as much. Bump the temperature to be much closer to a candle, which is probably like around that. And although it is not a candle, it doesn't look too bad. Can get a little bit softer of a source radius. Hold on. Let's see, 5, 2, yeah, just wanted like a softer base down there. And then I'll just go ahead and group these up as like a little piece. Yeah, might be fun to add some candles around. And what you'll probably find is, especially with how I kind of have it set up at the moment, is that these are definitely too bright. So probably need to go in and actually, yeah, tone it down a little bit. But very simple to even, like, you know, you'd want to probably actually model out something a bit more refined with the candle, of course, having like the wax and everything, and then getting a particle. But I think like just the idea of it coming in, just blocking it in, can be really cool. And I like to do this sort of stuff a lot, where I just really quickly make something inside of Unreal Engine that like has the same exact sort of yeah, look that I want for the final thing, and it doesn't like cost me a ton of time like figuring it out, so I can go ahead and get the look that I'm wanting, and then say, okay, like I like what's happening here, now I just need to go and actually make the asset, and as long as I keep it relatively to the same like sort of dimensions and feeling, then it's going to already be figured out in this space. So I think that, like, of course, layout sort of ideation process where you just quickly get something in here is like super fun and rewarding to, yeah, just play around with this sort of stuff. So as you see, now I'm sort of creating a pathway to the front door. That's pretty cool. We didn't really have that before. Getting a bit more depth in here. Could, yeah, place them around even further, but might also, I think one last thing real quick is that these lights over here, which aren't actually attached to anything, still running a little bit too cool. So I'm gonna bring those back. That orange really pops off those pumpkins for sure. And I think now at this stage, really just one or two other notes. These windows definitely glowing quite a bit, so probably just gonna drop them real quick down to just be default lit. That's gonna resolve that. And then I want to throw in some point lights in here just to yeah, kind of sell the feeling or so of some of the glow that's happening in there. Gonna, yeah, crank that down, make it pretty soft overall, and then yeah, also do that same sort of glow. Nothing crazy, but just wanted like a fun effect from up there. And then the light that's inside, I think, could definitely be you know, pushed a bit more. So maybe we got something like that. Cool. And then just for this like overall like scene, I think one or two other like quick lighting adjustments. This is where you're really just trying to like, I guess, push certain elements. So I think bringing in a light maybe a little bit closer might not make, you know, as much sense, but you can see that we're getting a little bit of light on this tree here, which I really like. So yeah, I think I want to do that. I pull it over here, so that works pretty well. And then also this tree, it could be cool. Maybe the light coming from down here is kind of hitting this tree, so I'm going to bump up the intensity a little bit, or the attenuation. Let's crank down this to be pretty warm, and yeah, just try to get that like soft glow maybe from it. Put it over there by those candles. And then lastly, I think the grass, I'm gonna make the grass a bit warmer overall. So I'm gonna go to my grass material. Right now it's just very simple green, and I'm going to basically just adjust it on the fly and go for something a bit exaggerated with the color. Let's go for like a, you know, very warm tone overall. Let's say really trying to push that like fall vibe. But what this will do, at least in our scene, and bring it back down, as you can see that like now that the grass is really like warm, it's really just making everything like sort of pop with that warmth. So yeah, that's about it for this video. As you can see, like a lot of the elements that really bring this together come down to, of course, like the lighting, you know, getting those right tones in there, but then also like a lot of it can come from how we're actually doing some of the props. We had something that was already pretty, I would say, haunted or so, or like just kind of spooky, but just with a couple of elements, we're really able to push it much further and get to a way more, I guess, like almost like Halloween-esque environment compared to just like very eerie environment. And so yeah, I think really just pushing this sort of elements, it comes down to like props and also lighting for most of that stuff, to really elevate and change your scenes. And something as simple as a mood change can happen even if you're still in the same realm, of course, but the mood change shifting with just like the fog, the lighting, and some of the other stuff that we've added can happen really fast, as you can see here. So yeah, hope you found this video fun, and hopefully potentially learned something from it as well. If you have any questions, of course, feel free to drop them down below in the comments, and besides that, I'll see you in the next video.